What's up, everyone, and welcome to Metalcore Nerds. I'm your host, Sean Mott, and today I have a very special guest with me. I have my friend Paul from Desolated.
Hi, how you doing? All right?
From over the pond.
From over the pond.
So this is kind of funny. Saw him play last night, and we actually met because we were on a tour together for a month. Became very good friends in that tour. We both used to have long hair at that time. And people, by the end of the tour, I was hanging out with them so much that they mistaken me for being in the band when I wasn't. I was filling in for Lionheart at the time. And we've just been friends ever since. So every time they come over here, come and hang out. But last night, he's like, oh, my flight's not until tomorrow. And I got nothing to do because the band's leaving and flying back home. So Sam and I were like, oh, come stay with us and hang out, and I'll just bring you to the airport. So here we are. And
so here I am.
Sam's
lounging
like,
around.
Yeah, Sam's like, you should
just making a nuisance of myself.
Do an episode of the podcast. And I was like, that's a good idea. We should do this. Because it's funny because I was going to ask you, I was like, yo, at some point I should have you on the podcast. But
you did ask over Instagram once.
What better than in person?
Yeah, and here we are.
It's nice. I've only done another one with two people in person. It was with Sam. So it's nice to have someone in here, in the lair, doing this shit. But we're going to talk a little bit about what we think might happen in Multiverse of Madness. So, spoiler warning for things that have been brought up in trailers that people were mad were brought up in trailers that I think Paul might not even know about. So he might get mad at me also. But it was in a trailer, so I'm going to say it's fair game. Okay? And even if you're staying off the internet, staying low, which I kind of am now to stay clear of anything because I've heard there's major leaks coming out, you can listen to this after and see what we got right. See if anything came true that we're thinking of in here. And it'll just be a fun little game to see what could happen and what implications it could have for the MCU in the future, because I think it's going to be massive. But before we get the multiverse of it all, I want to ask you, what got you into this nerd stuff? Because we were talking about it when we were on tour. We would talk about nerd stuff all the time. We were even, because Deadpool 2 came out while we were on tour.
That's really
and we were both like, can't wait to go home and watch Deadpool 2.
That's a really good memory. I can't even remember that. That's a hell of a memory.
That's when it came out. I remember us talking about Deadpool and we're like, I can't wait to see Deadpool 2 because we couldn't see it.
We were just having breakfast as well. We were just like nerding out, just talking about like MCU, and it was like, should we just take this home? And
just put it out for people to listen to. Yeah. So how did you get into Marvel and nerd stuff?
I want to say it was a 90s cartoon for Spider-Man and X-Men. Just growing up, that was like my introduction into the Marvel universe. From that, probably just played like some games. What was the fucking? So I don't know if I'm supposed to swear. Marvel.
You can swear.
Oh, cool. Marvel. What was it?
Marvel vs. Capcom?
No, it wasn't Capcom. It was where you could pick like different characters and then
Marvel Alliance or whatever Alliance.
Ultimate Alliance. Yeah. Which kind of got me in, like, kind of introduced me then to like some of the more obscure characters at the time, like sort of Moon Knight, Deadpool. It's kind of went from there. It's always been like kind of if there's a film that comes out or a series that comes out, like I enjoy watching it.
Hell yeah! I mean, I've said it multiple times on the podcast, but that's what got me into too. It was X-Men, Spider-Man, Batman. The animated series that got me like fully involved in that world when I was a kid. I was like, I like Power Rangers and shit like that one, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
that was like my childhood.
So we're like saying kind of like similar. Yeah, similar.
It seems like anyone around our age-ish, it's been the same. It's been the same. You know, they're like, oh yeah, it was the animated series that got me into it, which is very, very cool. So I don't think you've seen this trailer. Maybe not. But have you heard the one where you hear Patrick Stewart's voice in the Multiverse of Madness trailer? So they show a little clip, and they don't show his face, but they show his chair. And it looks like it's the same yellow hover chair from the animated series.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah. And he's wearing the green suit. So people are speculating it could be the Professor X from the animated series played by Patrick Stewart, which is nuts.
Yeah. That would be amazing. And that leads into the Illuminati, the Marvel Illuminati. Doctor Strange, Patrick Stewart, Professor X.
Namor, Iron Man.
That's how I don't know how they're going to do that.
Black Panther and
unless with the multiverse,
Mr. Fantastic.
Unless with multiverse, it's going to introduce, and I think people need to be ready for a non-Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man.
Yeah, there's another thing. So they revealed that the Illuminati is in the movie.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
So you know in the trailer when he goes and you hear Patrick Stewart's voice and they're in that room, that he's facing the Illuminati. So now we don't know who's in the Illuminati, other than Patrick Stewart for sure. They have alluded to, you saw Wanda fight someone, which kind of looks like a Captain Marvel variant.
Yeah.
It could be Maria Rambeau or a variant of Monica Rambeau,
yeah.
which obviously would be different from the comics. It seems like it might be a bigger Illuminati. I think it's 7 people because it was Patrick Stewart and then 6 other chairs. It's kind of heavily implied that Mordo is going to be a part of the Illuminati, obviously, because he's kind of the one that brings, unless they're totally fucking with us in a trailer, which obviously they have done a million times.
Yeah.
But they did show, we were talking about this while we were eating, but I wanted to reveal this while we were talking on the podcast, is that we did see someone with Captain Carter's shield in the trailer.
Right. Okay, I haven't seen this trailer yet.
Yeah. So we didn't see her face. It's pretty safe to assume it's her.
Strong implication.
Which is pretty dope.
Yeah,
she's making the transition from anime to live action.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, it's kind of open for the rest of the team. We could get a Reed Richards, maybe. We could get a Black Panther variant. We could get an Iron Man variant.
I think so. Yeah. I think it's inevitable.
And that's what I was telling you and Sam last night. Is my fun theory, which I haven't heard anywhere. I know nothing at all. I just thought of it because I was watching Disney Plus does this like Marvel Legends thing where it kind of does like a quick recap of someone's journey through the MCU. So they had one for Strange, they had one for Wong, they had one for Wanda. So I watched all of those, and as I was watching the Doctor Strange one, obviously a big part of it is like the Infinity War thing. And I remembered there's like a deleted scene, or maybe they didn't even fully shoot it, but there's like pictures of Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange wearing an Iron Man suit. So if like we saw a Strange variant as Iron Man from some different world where that happened, it'd be pretty crazy. And I haven't seen that like anywhere. I was just thinking about it. I was like, that'd be crazy if they finally paid that off and had that in there. Obviously, there's been the talk of Tom Cruise, which I don't know if it's true or not. It's hard to know with some of these rumors nowadays because some end up being true, some end up being not. It's really hard to follow.
What they've done really well though is they've stirred it up. Everyone's kicking off.
Yeah,
everyone is going mad. Going, you know what I mean? Like Iron Man needs to be like Robert Downey Jr. Of course he does, but the way he died,
it's perfect.
It was you can't rewrite that. I don't see the point in bringing it back.
He's only been gone for 3 years.
Yeah,
like
and he's come out and he said he's not going to do it anymore.
Yeah. Which obviously when actors say shit, they lie. Like Andrew Garfield not being in Spider-Man. But I really do believe that if he does come back, and we've been talking about Secret Wars pretty much for the last 24 hours, that like eventually this is obviously going to lead to a Secret Wars type movie. And that would be cool if he came in like a Secret Wars thing where like the multiverse is colliding and we see like a Tony Stark variant and it is Robert Downey Jr., but it's like kind of like a quick thing or something. And they have this nice moment with someone or something like that. But other than that, it's like, why? There's no need. His story ended.
Yeah.
We don't need it. And that's like the same thing with Patrick Stewart that we talked about too, is that I don't want this to be the same Professor X from the X-Men universe because they told that story with Logan, ended his story perfectly. And I hope like it looks like we were saying, it could be like the animated.
It needs to move on.
Yeah. It's got to be someone else. Like it's cool that Patrick Stewart is playing him, but it's got to be like a different version.
Yeah.
And I do think when we see that Illuminati scene, it's going to be this crazy expedition dump from Professor X that's going to like blow our fucking minds open. That's just a guess. Again, I don't know shit. I don't know anything. I know some people saw the first 20 minutes. I didn't read any descriptions. I know nothing of what happens. I just know kind of like, oh, certain things in the trailer are in the first 20 minutes. And that's all I know. And I just heard it's very fast paced, which makes sense. I expected this to be like, go hit the ground running, kind of like Infinity War.
Yeah,
it was just like from the very first stop, you're just going. And that's how I
love your passion for this. This is mad.
So I love this shit probably too much. That's what Sam was saying. She's like, I can't even keep up with the knowledge in your head of this stuff. I can't even imagine being like Kevin Feige or anyone that's planning the next 10 years of this stuff. I can't even imagine. But it's, is there anything else you think we're going to see in this? Like, do you think we'll get a mention of, I think that's what I was alluding to, is do you think we'll get a mention of mutants from Professor X? Maybe even saying that Wanda is a mutant or something like that.
Potentially. Yeah. I mean, like with Fox and Disney now, you've got Fantastic Four, you've got X-Men, all of that will obviously come into like the MCU. So I guess a pretty exciting time. There's so many different stories going around. Like, this was different from like Infinity War and Endgame. And what I like about it is that like it was just kind of like one storyline and a nice saga.
Yeah.
Whereas leading up to the Secret Wars, it's like it's a little bit more complicated.
Yeah.
But because the MCU have built so much hype with the Endgame saga, like you need to follow everything. You know, the likes of Moonlight, the likes of Deadpool, the likes of Loki. That's probably like one of the most important ones. So like you need to like there's so many different stories going on that it'll eventually like kind of come together and then make arguably probably a better film, probably the biggest film ever made.
Yeah. So many people that are like, man, where do they go from Endgame? And I'm like, as soon as they. So I read the Hickman Secret Wars like before Endgame came out. It's like probably my favorite event Marvel comic book. No joke, it's fucking incredible. And as soon as they started doing time travel, I was like, Secret Wars is happening.
Secret Wars, yeah.
People were like, what's Secret Wars? And I was like, read it.
Yeah.
I was like, it's fucking crap. Not everyone's saying Secret Wars, which is like not to say I was like before, like other people recommended Secret Wars to me. I was like, hey, I'm getting into comics. What do I read? People said, read Secret Wars. And I'm like, cool. So I did. But yeah, it's and like you said, there is so much stuff going on. Even in Phase 4, they've kind of started this thing. Like we were talking about how it's like WandaVision into No Way Home into Multiverse of Madness is kind of like the multiverse saga. But then you still have stuff like Hawkeye and things like Loki, which is still kind of in its own thing. But the finale was the catalyst for all of this.
Yeah.
And Moon Knight is kind of in its own fucking world itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so self-contained to itself, but still, you can still believe it's in the world of the MCU. And, you know, we've been talking about Thunderbolts or Dark Avengers, and that's like a totally separate thing that could be connected to like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show, which also kind of, you know, obviously very implicated in the MCU, but it was its own thing. It's like all these shows have been kind of their own thing, but just in this bigger world, and they're kind of doing the ground level, doing the cosmic stuff with like Eternals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And obviously more with Guardians and Thor. And then we have the multiversal shit. It's like all these different fronts that are going on at the same time. And I even heard some people being like, oh, I think Marvel's just trying to see what sticks. And it's like, no, they're building all of this out at the same time. I was like, you can't say that, like, they're literally like the longest running, biggest franchise of all time. Like, obviously there's been franchises that have run longer, but no one's done it as consistent as them for this amount of time ever. Yeah. Like Star Wars, they have 3 trilogies over 40 years, but I was like, there's big gaps in between them. Like they've been going strong since 2008, and they're releasing more shit now than ever. There's 3 to 4 series and 3 to 4 movies a year, and that's a ton of fucking content. And I can understand some people not being able to keep up with it. I would, if they release something every week, I'd probably fucking watch it. Yeah, but that's just me. Obviously, I love this shit, but it's just amazing how they're kind of just like still going out.
The writing. I mean, like, if you were to go back even 10 years and be like, Ant-Man, maybe not 10 years, I think Ant-Man came out 10 years ago, but like Ant-Man, Deadpool, Moon Knight, to anyone, and you're talking about comics, they'd be like, what are you on about? Like, you know what I mean? It'd be like, I know Spider-Man, I know Captain America, I know maybe X-Men or whatever. Yeah. So it's just the writing, the way they've introduced these like non-A-list characters in the universe and introduced them, and was it the fucking Super Bowl they were like advertising Moon Knight? Like, that's unheard of. That's insane.
It's so cool. Well, they even started with a non-A-list character, like Iron Man. Like, who gave a fuck about Iron Man before 2008? You know what I mean? Like, no one. Even Captain America wasn't even that big. Yeah. You know, like Thor. Who gave a fuck about Thor?
Yeah, true. Yeah,
like Hulk was probably the biggest Avenger. You know what I mean? Like the most popular. Like he had so many different TV shows and obviously like 2 different movies before he came back into the MCU and shit like that. But yeah, it's like that's been their like whole thing, is that, you know, their 2 biggest teams aren't even in the MCU yet, with Fantastic Four and X-Men. You know, like those could carry a decade by themselves.
True,
just them.
I mean, the last Fantastic Four films have been kind of dead. Yeah, and some of the X-Men movies were kind of dead. But that's the difference with the writing. It's just that the MCU, they've just got the right people in the right position, and who are able to take the stories from the comics and put it on the big screen. And that's wild. What a wild time.
Yeah, it's crazy that, like, from the casting to who they get writing the shows to who they get directing the shows, they just put the right people in place.
It's not a cash in. It doesn't feel like, let's just make a Spider-Man movie and make fucking 70 mil or whatever. Yeah, let's make the best fucking Spider-Man movie ever. Yeah. And make 140 mil.
Yeah.
Probably more than that.
Yeah, I think it made like $1.7 billion.
It's
like a ton of fucking money. It's crazy because like a lot of these people weren't even big. Like Taika Waititi was not a big director before he did Ragnarok. Like James Gunn wasn't, like, he was known, but they never did movies like that.
Yeah,
it kind of like blew him into the stratosphere. And that's what I kind of love too, is that they've been doing kind of like stuff like that. Like even the guy who wrote WandaVision and the guy who wrote Loki and the guy who wrote Multiverse of Madness, he used to work on Rick and Morty. And I'm guessing they probably brought him in because that show is very heavy in the multiverse.
Yeah.
And so he can like play, like he knows how to do these multiversal kind of things. And I'm just hearing him talk is so cool because I love watching the interviews because I'm like that big of a nerd that I like watching the interviews of their director and the writers and stuff. But I'm so excited to see what he does with this movie in particular. Because I thought that's my favorite Disney Plus show.
Loki was
Loki.
Good. Loki was good.
It kind of had everything. It was like a weirdo sci-fi show, but it had like tons of emotion in it, and like the set pieces were wild. Like the finale was basically like them talking with Jonathan Majors playing.
I think it was kind of weird. He fell in love with himself.
I mean, kind of, but it's like
it's very low key.
It's different, but yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess if you had a like girl version of yourself, you'd probably fall in love with yourself, right?
Yeah.
Right?
That makes me feel like a big ego.
I guess we'll never know.
No.
Unless somehow we break the multiverse. And find it. We can create branch timelines and find a female version of ourselves. And that's a good question. Would anyone date a female version of themselves? Hit me up on Twitter. Let me know.
Yeah.
Hit up Paul on Twitter. Let him know. So
I don't have Twitter.
So he doesn't feel as bad about it. He's like, it makes me feel like I'm a big ego.
I don't think I'd date myself. I'm too chaotic.
No, I think I would be too depressed, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I could deal with my shit.
Either. Less Sam for shit.
Yeah,
I don't think I would.
No.
But you're fucking annoying, dude. What the fuck? Yeah, dude. That's the craziest thing about this movie too, is that we don't know what this movie is. Obviously, we know it deals with the multiverse. Obviously, we know it kind of deals with Wanda. Everyone thinks she's going to be the villain. Possibly. We'll see how they've kind of been painting her that way, but
they're very misleading, though.
They are,
and they've done it in every trailer.
Even Spider-Man: No Way Home, we kind of knew what the movie was.
Yeah,
multiverse is breaking. We see these villains come through. Probably all three Spider-Man are going to fight him. That is what happened. But the way things happened and the way things progressed were very surprising.
Yeah.
Like things that happened in the movie, I was like, what the fuck? And that was the most surprising stuff to me. Like even like the stuff with Aunt May and shit like that. But with this movie, we don't even know what it is. Like what's actually like, what caused the multiverse to fully break open? Because obviously we know the door is open from the finale of Loki, but it seemed like he kind of closed it off in the whole Spider-Man thing. So it's like, what is causing everything to kind of collide in itself? And I'm very excited to see that answer because I would assume we would get that. And like, what's the big danger here? Like, why is he facing off all these different versions of himself? Like, why is he, facing against the Illuminati? Is it because he's messed with time since he's come into power as a wizard, basically? Because as soon as he got that fucking IOG mode, he's fucking with time.
Yeah.
Like, people forget, Wong died. Doctor Strange won. And then,
he did, didn't he?
Yeah, and then Doctor Strange reversed it, brought him back to life. If he never did that, Wong would just be dead.
Yeah.
We would have never had him back, So it's crazy. And it's like, what the fuck is this movie? I have no idea. And even if Wanda's the villain, I know some people have said, I don't understand why she did the thing she did in Westview. And like, I think it's wrong what she did. Yeah, it's what's wrong what she did. But it was based in grief. Grief is fucked up. Like if you've never dealt with losing someone or what she lost, which was her fucking mom and dad when she was a kid, her brother, and then became an Avenger. She had to kill the person she loved only for Thanos to rewind it and re-kill him in front of him. She's went through some shit. Yeah, she held a town hostage for a few weeks. Not okay. She obviously felt very bad about it. And it's kind of justified in a way. She didn't really know what she was doing. It kind of just happened in an explosion. Yes, she kind of realized what she was doing and kept doing it. But eventually she came around and was like, I need to stop this, even if it means losing the family I created. And she did it. She did do that. And if somehow she goes on a murderous rampage in this movie because she wants to find her kids and bring them into her reality,
We just gotta embrace it.
I don't
She's
blame
going
her.
through some shit.
I don't blame her. I'd probably do the same thing. Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
But this is also the beauty of, I think, Marvel characters over like DC, is that it's the emotion.
Dude.
It's not just a superhero.
Right.
They're representing something.
Yes.
That might be social injustice. That might be mental health.
Yep.
And I think that is what makes their characters more complex than, like, you know what I mean, like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman.
No,
that's why I think, personally, Marvel dicks all over DC.
I completely agree. That's like what Phase 4 has been like, Ben. It's been trauma, like the whole thing. Like you said, like Falcon Winter Soldier dealt with racial issues and Bucky having PTSD from everything with Hydra and shit like that. And it's like WandaVision dealt with
relatable.
grief.
It's all relatable.
Loki dealt with like purpose and like what is life, basically.
Yeah.
You know? It's like even Moon Knight is dealing very hard with mental illness,
multiple personality disorder.
And it goes into even more into stuff in episode 5. Paul hasn't seen episode 5 because he's been on tour, so I don't want to say what it is. But it gets into some really heavy subject matter. Of course. It deals with some really heavy subject matter that I think is very important, and I'm very happy that they're like dealing with this shit head on. And it's like you said, it's like that's how we can grasp to these characters is that these are these literal fucking superheroes, and they deal with the same shit we do.
Yeah.
And that's why that's why people are so, like, that's why I'm so passionate about this shit. For one, I got into this stuff in like a really kind of like hard time in my life, like super into this stuff. But then they do stuff like this, and I'm like this is so important. And I feel like people overlook that kind of thing sometimes. Even, you know,
maybe with the commercialism of like Marvel, and, you know, I mean, you go to any toy store and you can buy, you know, Captain America figures or whatever. Yeah, but rewind the clock all the way back to the comic started. There was a lot of shit going on in the States, wasn't there?
Yeah,
there was like hell about racism, like really bad homophobia.
Yeah,
there was a lot going on, which still echoes to today.
Yeah,
and like these characters were made to help represent those people.
Yeah.
Because we're all going through shit. Everyone's got something going on in their head.
Yeah, exactly.
We can all look at you know, a character and go, yeah, I relate to that one. That's my sort of my superhero, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I don't know. I'm chatting shit. I don't know, but I spent the last like 2 weeks in a van, destroyed my body a little bit. My head's all over the place, but you know that's escapism. It's exactly the same with music. It's another art form that you can just lose yourself in, and just for a moment, you know, read about fucking Carnage and Spider-Man, or you know, the Fantastic Four or X-Men, or whatever. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it.
Yeah.
Who else do you think is going to show up in the Illuminati? You think we see Reed Richards?
Yeah. I think so, because I think they need to put a Fantastic Four film together that isn't crap.
It's got to be good.
Yeah. So I can see a Reed Richards. I can see that would be quite a good introduction for them to come in.
Because obviously people will know who he is as soon as you see him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sure he'll be in the get up with the 4 on it and everything like that. Kind of hope it's Jonathan Krasinski. I'd freak out.
No, but he was the guy in the last one, wasn't he?
No, the guy who plays Jim in The Office.
Oh, okay.
He's been like the biggest fan cast of like anything Marvel.
Right.
Him and Emily Blunt playing Reed Richards in Sue Storm.
Right.
That's been like and they're married in real life. That's been like the biggest.
I never really vibed with the Fantastic Four. I could never really relate to the Fantastic Four.
I think that's gonna be the hard thing for them to do, is to like create a creative enough story that people care about, and that is just. I have faith in them making a good movie. Obviously, in my opinion, the MCU's never made a bad movie, like a movie that's completely unwatchable. Like that movie was utter garbage.
Yeah,
I know people don't like Thor: The Dark World, or people don't like The Incredible Hulk, but like I could still watch those movies and be like, they're fine. They're not bad. Like they're still enjoyable movies. So, but this one has the added pressure because of the last 2 times before, especially the last one was very bad. I actually watched that on the flight home from our tour.
Yeah,
and I was like, the beginning is actually really cool. And then the ending, you're like,
why?
What the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
But yeah, they have a lot of pressure to get that shit right.
I always like Doom.
Doom's the fucking best.
I always like Doom when because they did the Fantastic Four animated series, didn't they?
Oh yeah,
and I didn't like the Fantastic Four. I like Doom. I used to watch it because of Doctor Doom.
Yeah, and that's like, will they introduce Doom in that, or will they introduce him in something else and he'll kind of show up later?
Yeah,
you know, it's tough
because he's also been rumored as like the next big villain.
Yeah, I mean,
and he's got a long history with
Secret Wars.
Yeah,
it's Doom.
Yeah,
unless I have a feeling they might change his role in that, and it might be Kang.
I think it'll be Kang. I think it'll be Kang,
which will be fine. I think they'll be.
But I think Doom will make an appearance.
Oh yeah, Doom is going to be a big part of shit in the future for sure.
Because he's gone across his force, so it's not just a Fantastic Four villain, is he? He's like
everyone.
He's gone against the Avengers. He's literally fought everyone.
Yeah, he's kind of gone against everyone.
Yeah.
I do hope that. Yeah, I'm interested to see.
Badass. I like Doom.
Dude, Doom.
He just looks badass. He is badass.
Yeah, he's like smart. He can use magic. Like, he can fight. Like, he's a dope villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the mask.
Yeah, the mask is so cool.
Yeah.
And they ruined that in the last one. Ooh.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Like, how do you ruin that? It's just a mask.
Yeah.
It's rough. I do hope we see Reed Richards though. If we see him sitting in one of those chairs, I'm gonna be like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is what the movie will do. It's going to like open up more channels. There's gonna be more stuff that's gonna kind of come from it. So that introducing a Reed Richards, is gonna be a Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
There is, so you'll probably got better knowledge than me. There's another one from the Illuminati. Is it Black Bolt?
Oh yes, from the Inhumans. Yes. Black Bolt. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Did I get that right?
Well, you did. Nailed it. I totally forgot. It slipped when we were talking about Illuminati earlier that he was in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
because they got a leader. They got a leader of all the teams.
Yeah. Quite proud of myself there for remembering that. Black Bolt. That was good. Fucking nerding out.
That was a good pull.
Yeah. Again, introduce the Black Bolt. That could be again another series.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to blow up. I think you're going to see loads of new characters introduced, which means loads of new Disney series.
Yeah.
Or movies. Probably more series. I think it'll be more series.
It's way easier to get more character behind these series. That's why it's like, I'm glad they're doing Moon Knight as a series. I'm glad they're doing She-Hulk as a series. Miss Marvel as a series. Like, it makes way more sense. And that's going to, like, Miss Marvel's already going to show up in the Captain Marvel sequel.
Yeah.
So it's like a perfect setup. We meet her. We know what she's about. Boom, she's in the movie.
Yeah.
Monica Rambeau, met her in WandaVision.
Yeah.
She's in the next Captain Marvel movie. It's like, we already met them, so they don't have to do that legwork in those movies. We're like, we already know who this is. Awesome. Let's fucking roll.
So as a Marvel nerd, it's an exciting time because there's so many, like I said, so many different stories going on right now that you can kind of lose yourself, binge watch a few series and, sort of be excited that it's not what's happening now. It's like where it's leading and what's going on.
Yeah. It's like we're back at phase 1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's because like so many people thought WandaVision was going to like break the multiverse and stuff. And I was like, think about it. I was like, we're back at like Iron Man.
Yeah.
I was like, this was the building block to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is like the building block to the multiverse, which is, I think it did very well. I rewatched most of it last week. I rewatched like the first 4 episodes and the last 2 episodes. And I'm like, man, we are so fucking like spoiled as nerds. Like the fact that we had that to start off like this new phase. It was just a beautiful show. And like,
but again, it all comes down to the writers, and it's like it feels like going back to phase 1 when they were doing Iron Man, they were like thinking about where they were going to be in 5 years and 10 years, leading up to like Infinity War, and I think that's where they've done it so well, and it's exactly the same as what they're doing now.
Yeah, but bigger.
Endgame and Endgame. Everyone said couldn't be topped, and then they topped it with No Way Home.
Yeah.
They just did it again.
I know. And they might do it again this week.
This week.
Which is crazy.
And like, again, Doctor Strange, not an A-list Marvel character by any means.
Nope.
Whereas now everyone will know who Doctor Strange is. Yeah. Everyone around the planet knows who Doctor Strange is.
Like, this could be one of the biggest Marvel movies ever. Not in scope, but in money.
Arguably one of the, if not the biggest, which will be insane.
Yeah, people didn't believe me when I said this movie is going to be like on par with No Way Home. Oof. We'll see this week because I think it might. We'll see.
The only thing I'm not sure about it is that they said that maybe Tobey Maguire will come in, and I feel like I had nice closure from Tobey growing up watching the early Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Like in No Way Home, that was a nice closure.
It was nice, but a Sam Raimi movie and having Tobey in it, kind of cool.
Yeah, but is this then?
It depends how he's used. I think he's going to come back regardless. I think we're going to see Tom, Andrew, and Tobey together again.
And is this what this movie's going to do? Are we going to get to a point, and I'm not going to complain, where we're going to have like 3 Spider-Man movies a year in 3 different universes?
I don't think so. Not that.
Because,
I think we might get a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey, maybe. Or he might just show up in these kind of things and they kind of just like eventually tie it all up. Like maybe we get a real life, like a live action Spider-Verse movie with those 3 doing something, which I think would be really, really cool. As long as, if it is just Sony, if the people who did Into the Spider-Verse are involved, I'll have faith in it. If it's just Sony and MCU or that team isn't involved, I'll be very worried. But I don't think that the MCU will let Tom Holland do anything without them being involved.
Yeah.
Because look at what they've created.
Yeah.
I know Sony still owns it, but I was like, Marvel's been the creative force behind all of those.
Yeah.
So I think they have like a good understanding of like, we can't ruin this.
No.
You know what I mean? Like the last 2 movies both made over $1 billion. I don't think they want to fuck with us.
No.
Which is smart. I know Sony kind of tried to pull it back and then everyone freaked out and they're like, we're good. Never mind. Like No Way Home almost didn't happen. Like there was a reality where it almost didn't happen. Yeah. They took Spider-Man back. They're like, yep, no more MCU. He's with us. And then everyone freaked out and then they were like, just kidding. And then No Way Home came out and obviously they're like, and the person at Sony, Amy Pascal and Kevin have already come out and be like, we're going to continue to work together on this character. Which is,
if you make 1.7 billion, you're going to make another one on you.
Yeah, which is smart, and it's what they should do. And obviously, the Venom movies have been very successful, and Morbius, I don't think was successful money wise. It did fine, but critics wise, didn't do well.
I didn't like Morbius.
I thought it was fine, but I went in thinking this movie is going to be awful.
Yeah,
and I came out being like, that was okay. So that was a plus for me.
Fair. I went in thinking this movie is probably going to be awful, and I came out when this movie is awful.
And that's fair. It does fall apart. I like the beginning.
Yeah.
I thought the beginning was really cool.
Yeah.
Like the origin of him, but the whole him being a good guy and the lazy fucking finale with the fight of the same person against each other. That's where it fell apart for me. But like I think it was like I saw like the potential because it could have been a really cool movie.
It really could, it could have been cool.
And I like Jared Leto as the character. I think he fits the role pretty well. Other than like his inherent need to be a good guy in the movie, that I don't like.
Yeah.
But post-credit scenes were fucking stupid. I made a video about how dumb the post-credit scenes were.
Yeah.
They're just forced.
Yeah.
Forced as hell. Like it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
The
whole movie was unnecessary.
Yeah, I'll tell you my pitch. And then I'll see how you react to that, to what we got for the end credit scene after we record this. People have already heard that, so we don't need to rehash that. But yeah, I don't think we'll get 3 Spider-Man movies a year. I think that's too much.
I think they're going to lead to Sinister Six. And I think eventually they're going to lead to, like in the cartoons, Madam Web.
Yeah, which she's getting a movie for, I don't know what reason.
Yeah.
Just a Madam Web movie.
Which could be cool.
It could be.
But if it's done well.
But it's Sony. So probably won't be done well, but we'll see. Because I think the same writer is doing that movie that did Morbius, which doesn't give me high hopes.
No.
Yeah. Even Kraven the Hunter, like I love Aaron Taylor Johnson, the guy who played Quicksilver in the MCU. I think he's awesome. It's a pretty cool casting choice. Do I think the movie's gonna be good?
No.
Probably not.
No.
It's just they can't keep having these Spider-Man movies without Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I heard this big leak came out with like their plan, which is leading to a Sinister Six movie, but they wanted Andrew to be the Spider-Man in this world, and he said no. I'm guessing because he saw the plan and was like, Kevin's not involved in this? No. And I don't know if they're going to try and drag Tom in it, but again, I don't think Marvel will let that happen.
No.
I don't think they'll let that happen.
No.
And it sucks because I wish Toomes was still in the MCU so they could do a Sinister Six in the MCU with Michael Keaton. Because they completely ruined his character in those after credit scenes. Like him being mad at Spider-Man makes sense because again, he doesn't know Peter Parker Spider-Man anymore because of No Way Home. So he doesn't have that resolution that he had in the end of Homecoming. So I can understand why he's mad at Spider-Man. Spider-Man's the reason he's in jail. But I wish we would have got that with Tom. And with like Scorpion, who they already set up, and with even who else they could bring into it. I wish they would do that in there.
Who was the original one? It was like what? Doc Ock, Shocker, Scorpion, Rhino,
Vulture.
That's 6. No, that's 5, isn't it? That's we got the Sinister 5.
You said Goblin, right?
And the Goblin.
And the
Hobgoblin won it.
Yeah. Hobgoblin or Goblin. They've done both. There's been different members of Sinister Six. Because I thought they were going to combine the Sonyverse with the Multiverse thing, which technically I guess the Sonyverse is part of the Multiverse, whatever. It's in the same universe as Venom. I thought like Venom would stay in the MCU and that like the MCU Sinister Six would have been like Morbius, Venom, Vulture, Scorpion, and maybe one more. Maybe like Kraven or something.
Yeah.
And like I was like, that'd be sick. Like, see Tom Holland face all those dudes, that'd be pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But obviously, they're not going that direction. Unless somehow something weird changes and it does.
Which we might get in...
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if any Sony things are involved. Like, if Spider-Man does show up, that's kind of telling because they own that character.
Yeah.
Like, Disney does not own Spider-Man at all. So if they do include a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, like, it's a pretty big... It gives me a little more hope for the future of these things.
Yeah.
I just wish they kind of like went all in and like, hey, we're doing a partnership with the MCU. They're going to be co-producing all of our movies. And then we can get movies that people like and do well.
Yeah.
It's a crazy concept, I know.
Yeah.
But it's like, obviously it works in the Spider-Man movies.
They're better at this job than we are.
They are.
Because they have more successful movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know.
Just go over contracts and legal shit.
Yeah. It's tough. Is there anything else you think is going to happen in this movie? Any other predictions? X-Men?
X-Men.
Do you think we get full X-Men? Or just like kind of like an expedition dump of like, we exist?
Yeah. I think we can see maybe like characters like Rogue. She plays quite a big part. She was actually their villain, wasn't she? She actually was introduced in the Marvel Universe as a villain.
Yeah, she's like a big foil to Captain Marvel.
She was, yeah. That's the reason why she can fly and all that stuff. So I reckon we might see like one or two of them. I reckon it'd be cool. It'd be really, really cool. I'm trying to think who else.
Do you want to know this crazy theory that I heard? I didn't make this up. Someone on another YouTube show brought this up, but that the MCU lives in a world where our Scarlet Witch already did House of M. Like, she already said no more mutants. That's why there's no mutants in the Marvel world.
Oh, really?
I don't, like, obviously I have no idea if it's true. I just saw a few people theorize on it, and I'm like, that is wild. Like, we ended up seeing a flashback in this movie of when she did it and she doesn't remember. Kind of like how we saw in that one WandaVision episode where they were showing her past and she was a kid. And Agatha was like, you just did a probability hack. So you stopped that bomb. And she's like, no, I didn't. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But she like did it because she's like obviously like mentally fucked up. That she like did it without knowing, and she like deleted the X-Men from existence or something like that. Like, that would be wild. Or if we go to a universe where that happened already.
Yeah.
You know, like if that one Wanda we see in the trailer where we see her in the Westview house and she's like in like normal mom clothes, like she lives in a world where she already did it.
Yeah.
Or something. And like people have been theorizing like maybe we get a reverse House of M where she says, let there be mutants or something.
Yeah.
And then that's how mutants get brought in, which is possible.
Secret Wars has X-Men. X-Men were part of the Secret
Wars.
Oh,
yeah, it's like everyone. Yeah.
So,
like,
yeah.
Like I said, like Secret Wars, like, in
like
Fantastic Four is a very, very, like, Reed Richards is the main character in it.
Yeah.
So, and his whole family, and Doom, like, they're the, Doctor Strange is a very, very big part too. But so, they kind of need all those parts. That's where it's like, Secret Wars happened in like 5 years. I was like, no, we have so much more shit to do before we can get there, you know? So that's why I think it's like that's like 10 years down the road. Like that's the next end game, you know, like a big building thing. We'll get to there eventually, but like we need a lot more legwork for that shit to happen. But yeah, I am very curious. Like I'm kind of hoping that like Professor X just lays out this thing about mutants in front of Doctor Strange, and we're all like,
that I think is a good theory.
Yeah, you know, like we just hear Patrick Stewart just schooling us on mutants within the multiverse,
and then you've got the Avengers and X-Men kind of coming together. Then you've got those worlds.
Because that's the thing, is like we still need we don't have an Avengers anymore.
No,
you know, like everyone's dead or somewhere else.
Yeah,
in space.
There's going to be like new Avengers,
young
Avengers,
which the Young Avengers might just become like West Coast Avengers or just the new Avengers.
Yeah.
You know, but I think they might be building a new Avengers team with like that after credit scene from Shang-Chi where we saw like Wong bring in Shang-Chi, and it was like Hulk and Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And like they could include obviously like Sam Wilson.
Yeah.
And we'll get like a new Avengers team with that, I think.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a cool, like kind of weird Avengers team, but cool.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping. We get like eventually.
Was that in the comics? There was a point where there was like She-Hulk. There was
Shang-Chi is in an iteration.
Yeah.
There's been a million of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Like everyone's been, like Beast has been in the Avengers. Like obviously
Yeah.
Wolverine's been in the Avengers. It's like, who hasn't been in the Avengers?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, I would have to imagine there has been a Scott Lang in the Avengers, but like one of the original Lambs was Hank Pym, not Scott Lang.
Yes.
It was a little different, but he was a very problematic comic character. Beat his wife and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not really about that.
Yeah, he was a piece of shit. I like the MCU one better. It's a lot nicer.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not nice, but he doesn't beat his wife. So
yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Domestic abuse is not cool. So I'm glad they haven't. I mean, it'd be cool for them to dive into just to like see that represented. But,
yeah.
I'm glad it wasn't like that so far. We don't need that. Not yet. Yeah, so Mutants.
I think we'll see Mutants. I'm going to call it.
I hope so. I hope we at least get a mention. Like, if we hear the word mutants in the MCU for the first time,
it's happening.
I mean, there was a mutant confirmed in it. Like, Professor X is in the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like, we know there is a mutant in the movie. Do you have any more theories before? I have one final one that I heard.
Go for it.
Yeah, but this is like, again, I don't know shit. I know since I've gotten early screeners, people think I know like insider information. I don't know anything. It's like Marvel, like, I have to apply for this shit, and sometimes I get it. Okay, like I don't know anything. But on the John Campea show, they made the craziest theory that I've ever heard. And if this somehow happens at the end, I'll probably like lose my shit. But kind of goes into the reverse House of M thing, where Wanda says like something about bringing mutants into the MCU or something. Because again, we have no idea what the fuck this movie is. We don't know what's going to happen, like what's going where, like. No fucking idea. And somehow she says something like that, and then like nothing happens. Everyone's kind of looking at her, and it's like after like a big battle between all of them, and they're trying to like fight off Wanda. And she finally says this thing, and then out of nowhere, we just see Magneto come down, and he turns the rest of them and goes, "I'll take care of, or will take care of her." He just takes her off. That's how the movie ends. And Magneto taking Wanda off. How fucking crazy would that be?
That'd be cool.
Like, wouldn't that be insane?
That would be really cool.
Because obviously things are not going to get resolved in this movie. Like, some character beats will get resolved, but like as far like the multiverse is not getting fixed in this fucking movie. No. So that's another thing. It's like, how does this movie even end? Like, what the fuck is going to happen?
It's going to have more questions, I think, than answers.
Oh, for sure. Because that's how it's like. People are like, "Oh, the finale of WandaVision didn't answer every question." I was like. Yeah, because the stories keeps going. I was like, this isn't a fucking TV show on NBC, dude. I was like, this is part of an overarching universe. I was like, more questions need to be answered later on.
Yeah.
It's like, I keep making examples to like other old points in the MCU. I was like, imagine if Cap lifted the hammer or nudged the hammer in Ultron and then got the hammer at the end of the movie. That would have sucked.
Yeah.
But then again, we saw it years later in Endgame and it was fucking dope.
Yeah.
And here Thor is saying, I knew it. Like, those moments need to have building blocks for there to be payoffs.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. They're right.
Because they've thought about that.
That's
been planned.
People want everything like now. And I'm like, no, because it'll be better when we wait for it. Yeah. Big payoff. Like, what is like, did you guys forget what we watched for 10 years?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's what made it so cool. Yeah. Is that we've been waiting for him even saying Avengers Assemble.
Yeah.
We've been waiting since Age of Ultron for that.
Yeah.
And again, it was fucking awesome because we waited for it. Like, that's what makes these things so fucking cool. And not everything can be the biggest thing ever because then nothing will be big.
Yeah.
We need these, like, totally toned back, you know, crazy.
There's too many stories. There's too much going on, especially with the multiverse. I think there's too much going on at the moment, which is why WandaVision, Loki, you know, Falcon and Winter Soldier, like none of them can be an end game or No Way Home level. You need those little stories to come together to build into a bigger thing.
Right. Exactly.
And I think that's what they're doing really, really well.
Yeah, I love that. Like, I love that we have these like quieter, pulled back moments in the series, and then the movies are the big, crazy event things.
Yeah,
so they can do these full character studies on Disney Plus, and then boom, we get all the fucking crazy shit in the movies.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you want to see in the movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
From that, then you can get even more on the series. Because after the movie, it's like, well, what happens to this character? What's going on with this character? What's going on with this character?
We got it.
You got to show.
That's what I say. Like, whose favorite character was Wanda before WandaVision? And now, well, people thought she was badass at the end of Endgame. They're like, oh, that was fucking cool. Or maybe you felt sympathetic for her in Infinity War because the whole Vision thing. But now, like, after WandaVision, like, she's, like, literally one of my favorite MCU characters.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't wait to see what the fuck she does in this movie.
Yeah.
even if she goes on a murderous rampage. I'm probably kind of on her side.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. Could happen. We don't know. Again, we don't know shit.
Is it next Thursday?
Yeah.
Next Thursday.
Yeah. 2 days or 3 days.
2 days.
3 days. Yeah.
Shit.
From this comes out, it'll probably be like a day.
Yeah.
I'll probably release this on Wednesday.
Yeah, already.
So yeah, right before
Tomorrow.
game day. It's gonna come out and then movies out. Is there anything else you want to add for your episode? I'm glad we did this.
I'm glad we did this. Yeah. Shout out the world. Shout out Mugshot. We just come off tour with both those bands.
Yeah. Awesome band.
Shout out These Streets. Shout out Cam from These Streets for making it the best tour possible.
I love Cam.
And
He's been on the show.
Has he?
Yeah. We talked about like our top 5 influential albums.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
Cool.
was his?
I don't even remember. I think like Oasis. Some weird shit.
That sounds about right. We were singing a lot of Oasis.
Yeah. He did some.
We
There
were
was
going for
heavy stuff in there too.
We were going through a snowstorm and singing Oasis.
That's
We did
beautiful.
actually think we were going to die. We were sliding all over the place.
That's scary, dude.
No, well, you know, what a way to go.
The
Singing
band.
Champagne Supernova whilst sliding all over ice roads.
I guess that's how you're gonna go. It's a good way to go. It's kind of like a movie, honestly.
Yeah.
You can't be mad at that, I don't think. But fuck yeah, man. I'm happy we did this. I'm happy you're hanging out with me right now.
Yeah, likewise.
It's a
Which
good
was
day.
like totally impulse. Just
Yeah.
chatted to you last night at the show and just said, yeah, I'm leaving at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening.
And then Sam's like, come
hang out.
stay at our house, and then Sean will take you to the airport after you hang out all day. And I'm like, yeah, that's a really good idea. I'm
Yeah.
glad you're smarter than both of us.
Yeah.
That's why I married her. To help fucking give me cooler ideas than I think of. It's true. I mean,
Sweet.
this podcast wouldn't even happen if it wasn't for her. I was like, maybe I should do a podcast in the pandemic. She's like, yeah, you should. She's like, you know a ton of people. You talk about nerd stuff all the time. Do it.
Do it.
And here we are.
Sick.
Doing this. See you on the other side of Multiverse of Madness. Until next time, see you later, nerds.